All right, now we're going to talk about the sweet topic of jobs. Yeah, and occupations. It's a huge one. It's a major topic, so it's a big one. So you better be ready for it and fresh. So, of course, we have some words about jobs. Job, work, what else?
Occupation.
Occupation. Yeah? Job, work, occupation, what else? It goes on. But when it comes to, like, what's your job? What do you do? I can also say, what's your occupation? But can I say, what's your work? Can I say, what's your work? No. But you can say, I work like this. I work like that. Yeah? I can't say, what's your work? So, there are differences between the word work and job. For example, a 9 to 5, a full-time work or full-time job? Yeah? So work versus job. A full-time job. Time or part-time job. But you can say I work full-time, right? Or part-time. Yeah? I work full-time, I work part-time. Correct? But a full-time job. I'm looking for a full-time work. A part-time work. Sometimes you hear that, but usually the word is part-time job, full-time job. If it's CAE, you have this use of English. It's a full-time job. 9 to 5 job. What is a 9 to 5 job?
Start from 9 p.m.
Yeah, 9 to 5 job. Either like that or like this. 9 to 5 job is a full-time job. It's a regular full-time job. You go to work at 9 and you end. So we have different adjectives, and we will talk about the adjectives in just a bit. But I work full-time. I enjoy my job or I enjoy my work. Do you enjoy your job or do you enjoy your work?
Work.
Do you enjoy your work? Do you enjoy working in this company? I enjoy my work. I enjoy working for whatever company. Yeah? Now we will talk more about the difference between work and job. I just wanted to, at the beginning, say there are differences between work and job. He works full-time in a factory downtown. He works part-time in a factory downtown. Now, then we will talk about adjectives for work in just a bit. So we have a part-time job, full-time job, a 9 to 5 job. Yeah? What else for job? A permanent job. A permanent job, which is the opposite of
Temporary.
temporary. Temporary. Job. A job could be permanent or temporary, right? A stable job. Everybody likes to have a stable and secure job. Yeah, stable and secure. Job. We have job what? Job security, right? Job security. A job that is stable and secure. What is the opposite of stable? Unstable. Unstable and what is the opposite of secure? Insecure. Unstable but insecure. So it's hard to find a job that's stable and secure. A full-time job that pays also well, right? What is a job with good money? A well-paid job. Low paid or low paying. We usually say low paying jobs. What's a survival job? Survival jobs. What's a survival job?
To survive.
A job that's only enough to survive. It's a low-paid job, low-paying job, whose salary is only enough to help us survive. We can only survive. So basically, I start with the word job itself. Job and work, the two most usual words, right, we use. But they are used differently in different contexts. I love my work. You can say I love my work, I love my job. Because work and job are both. This is noun and verb, right? But they're not used exactly the same and in the same context. And that's why in some exams such as CAE, in use of English, also in IELTS and TOEFL, they look at these two words. Can I say a 9 to 5 work? No. A 9 to 5 job. A full-time job. A part-time job. A permanent job. A temporary job. What's a temporary position? So a job is not exactly a position, but sometimes you have a temporary position is available. It's like a job. Because the person, the main person who has that job is either on vacation, is on maternity leave. You know maternity leave? Yeah? So they would say a contract position is available for 1 year to fill in for someone else who's on maternity leave for a year or for 9 months. It's a contract position. A contract position is available. So we have position, or there's a vacancy. Yes? Job vacancy. What's a vacancy? An available position. There's a vacancy. If you call someplace, sorry, excuse me, do you have a vacancy here? Do you have a vacancy? Is there an empty position? An available position? Vacancy? Yeah. So we will talk about the issues that are important for a job. What's a good job? But right now, I want you to know that the words job and work are different. I work from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sorry. I'm looking for a full-time job. He works full-time. He's looking for. So, You worked for or with, right? A company, someone.
For.
Yeah. Both. I work to work. I work for, with, in. I work in a bank. Yeah? I work for a whatever agency. I work with somebody. I work with John. Or I work with
My father.
my father. Or I work with the United Alliance, an insurance company. You can work for that company and you can work with. A little different, right? If I work for somebody, it's that person hired. I can work in a bank. You don't work. If I work for a bank, it should be different. But if I work in a bank, it's not like I'm inside a bank.
Hi.
Hmm?
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, hire? Yeah, we will talk about that in just a bit. So, what do you do, or what's your job? What's your occupation? If you go somewhere, they ask you questions like, what's your occupation? What's your job? What do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? If somebody asks you this for a living, what do you do for a living? What's your job? For a living, what do you do for a living? What's your job? He sells alcohol for a living. That's his job. He plays the piano for a living. He's a street musician. He busks for a living. What do you do for a living? For a living? If something is your livelihood, that's his livelihood. So livelihood here would mean like that's his job. So, before we look at adjectives for the job, so this whole thing is falls into the category of employment, right? Employment. What else? Employed. Yes? We also have unemployment and unemployed, right? We also have employer and employee, right? Employer and employee, correct? Employed, unemployed, employer, employee. The unemployment rate. The unemployment rate. What's the unemployment rate in Canada right now? What is it in Japan? How many people are unemployed in Japan?
No idea.
Let's see. Unemployment rate in Japan. The jobless rate in the world's third largest economy fell to 3.45%. It's great. How about in Canada? Only 3.5%. Canada says 7.7, almost 8%.
Oh.
Or some estimates around 7%. US? Is about 10, 11%. Some estimates go as high, like 6%. The real unemployment is 12%, 12.6%. So it's the unemployment rate is the percentage of people who are unemployed. Now, of course, I don't want to get into this, but you need to know that always the official unemployment rate, the official unemployment rate is not accurate. Is it accurate? Remember the word accurate? Precise? Is the official unemployment figure in the US accurate? Is it an accurate figure? It's usually not real. Because, I just give you very quickly, in the US, for example, the number announced by the government, the official unemployment rate, is the number of those people who go look for a job. They go register as unemployed on government, in a government agency. They say, hey, please, put my name down, please, I don't have a job. They register. If you register as unemployed, you will join this list of 7%, 8%, whatever. But most of the people who don't have a job, or don't have a full-time job, they're not on that list. That's why the lists are not real. So, we have unemployment, unemployed. If I want to put the word job here, what would I say? Job, a person who doesn't have a job is? Jobless. And we have joblessness. Joblessness. Work? How could I say work with work? Can I say workless? I've been what? Out of work. Out of work for 2 months. For 2 months. I've been out of work for 2 months. I've been jobless for 2 months. I've been out of work for 2 months. So jobless, let me write it well. Jobless. Jobless. Usually people who are jobless usually become homeless, right? After a while. So we have joblessness, homelessness. The problem is not 1, 2, 3, it just starts breeding. So joblessness brings poverty, right? Poverty. You know, poor? If people are poor, that thing is poverty. So to live in poverty, right? To live in poverty. Now, what percentage of people live in poverty in the US, for example? How many people? It's about 50 million people. Out of 300 million people, 50 million people in the US live in poverty. Below the poverty line.
Really?
Yes. To live below the poverty line. Now, the poverty line in the US, for example, is somewhere around $22,000 a year for a family of 4. For a family of 4, it's about $22,000 a year. That's the threshold. So below that, you're living in poverty. So there's to live below the poverty line. There's a poverty line. And in your country, for example, they would say, for example, in Spain, the poverty line is this much. In Japan, there's a poverty line. So whoever lives below that poverty line is poor, is living in poverty. So to live in poverty. So we will talk about this. I mean, it's a huge discussion. This is one of those topics. And it touches every one of us, so it's basically... So, we have employment, employer, employee, and to employ, right? To employ. Employers, what do they do? Employ. And employees are employed. Employer, employee. So the stress is here. An employer. Employer, employee. Employment, unemployment. So unemployment is one of the major social problems, right? Unemployment. Because unemployment causes poverty. People become poor. And poverty, there are many problems. Poverty brings homelessness, joblessness, homelessness, hunger. Yeah? People are hungry or food insecure. Now, 1 out of every 5 children in the United States, the world's largest economy, 1 out of every 5 children is hungry. That's a huge percentage. 20% of children in the United States are food insecure. They don't have enough to eat. They go to bed hungry every night. I'm not talking about Africa. I'm talking about the United States of America, the world's largest economy. So this is a huge issue. He lost his job. He's jobless. To lose one's job, right? To lose one's job. But before talking about losing one's job, he lost his job, let's talk about the process of getting a job or whatever that is all about. So first we talk about the process of getting a job, and then we talk about different adjectives for jobs, what kind of jobs we have. It's a full-time job, it's a part-time job, it's a temporary job, it's a stable job, whatever. And then the things that are more relevant. But again, before the process of getting a job, why do people get a job? To earn money, right? To earn money. You know, earning means to work hard to make money. We have to make money and earn money. But earn is a little different. Means I don't want to waste my hard-earned money on something, like let's say on alcohol. Hard-earned money. What is my hard-earned money? The money I have worked hard for. Hard-earned money. So earn money and just making money, they're different. When you earn money, it means you work hard in exchange for the money you make. Yeah? To earn a living, what does to earn a living mean? To earn a living. So I would say these days, it's becoming increasingly difficult to earn a living. To keep the body and soul together. To make ends meet. It means to survive. These days, it's becoming increasingly difficult. If something is becoming increasingly something, please learn it and use it in your writing. If something is becoming increasingly difficult, it means it's becoming more and more difficult. If something is becoming increasingly challenging, or you can say increasingly more difficult, means it's increasing all the time. It's becoming increasingly more difficult. I can say increasingly more difficult. Or increasingly more difficult to keep the body and soul together. When you keep the body and soul together, it means to survive. To make ends meet. All these expressions are the expressions that people use all the time. All the time you hear all the 3-4 of them. To earn a living. To earn a living, it means just to be able to keep bodies, to live hand to mouth. To live hand to mouth. Or to live paycheck to paycheck. How can I save? How can I save? When I live from paycheck to paycheck, from paycheck to paycheck. So what is it, a hand-to-mouth life? When you live hand-to-mouth, it means you only make enough money to eat and stay alive. There's no money for saving. There's no money for trips, for fun, for vacations, nothing. That happens when you have a low-paying job. And most of the jobs in the economy right now are low-paying jobs that pay around minimum wage. We'll talk about that just a bit. So, to earn money, to earn a living, these days it's becoming increasingly more difficult to keep the body and soul together, to earn a living, to make ends meet, to survive, because most people have low-paying jobs and they can only live hand to mouth, like only eat and survive. From paycheck to paycheck. This paycheck, I get paid this month. Next month, I depend on my next paycheck. If the next paycheck doesn't come, I'll be in trouble. That's living from paycheck to paycheck. Now, I want to say goodbye to this and have a look at the money I make when I start working. What do we call that? So, if it's fixed and annual, it's different from monthly and hourly. So, we have monthly, we have, if you're paid based on hours, hourly, weekly, monthly, and yearly. But instead of yearly, we usually say annual. Yes? How much is your annual? Annual what? Salary. For hourly and weekly, it's usually
Wage.
wage. Wage. There's a wage, right? For annual, for hourly and weekly, that's a wage. Like we have the minimum wage. In Ontario, how much is the minimum wage? About $11. In Ontario, it's about $11. In the US, it's 7 something, about $8. $7, $7.50, $8. And they want to raise the minimum wage. That's one of the main controversial issues. The big businesses are against it. They say it hurts the economy because we cannot hire more people. We don't have enough money, we can't afford. The workers and employees are for it. So even minimum wage is a highly controversial issue. There are many people debating it. So the wage, and so we have the people who make wage are wage earners, right? Wage earners. So, but monthly salary, your annual salary. In Canada, you look at the list of jobs, it would say 50K. 50K would mean $50,000. So 50K would mean 50. K means like kilo. $50,000. That's the annual salary. But then, when you get a job, it's not just a salary or a wage. Sometimes you're looking for perks and any bonuses, benefits, perks, which comes from the word perquisite. Perks and benefits, almost the same, right? What are the benefits? What kind of benefits do we look for if we're talking about a job? For example, we're talking about paid holidays, right? Or paid vacation. Or dental care. Insurance. Health insurance, right? Health insurance. Correct? So if I'm getting a job, and if I look for benefits in that job, I'm thinking about the benefits. Are there any benefits? Most jobs offer no benefits. Most jobs now, the economy is not okay. There's an economic, what is it when the economy is not okay? There's a economic what? Recession. Economic recession. Economic stagnation. The economy is slow. The economy is slow. Or the recovery is slow. Now, officially speaking, there was a recession back in 2006, 2007. Officially 2007. In the US, people say the official recession ended in 2009. But a lot of people believe still the economy is in recession. The economy is in recession. There's economic recession. So what happens when there's economic recession? People lose their jobs, they lose their homes. Yeah, a lot of people become poor and jobless, and the economy's bad. People don't buy things, the economy becomes slow. the housing market, the consumer market, they just go down. People don't buy as many homes or houses. They don't buy as many goods and products. So the economy slows. So when we get a job, we either get a wage, like an hourly wage, or a weekly wage, and you say, how much is your pay? Pay. Salary. Compensation. So when you go to a job interview, sometimes they ask you for your expectation. What's your expectation? Yeah? What's your expectation? What's your expectation? How much money do you want? But most jobs now, when you go apply, like low-level jobs. We have low-level jobs and also entry-level jobs. We have low-level or entry-level jobs. We have blue-collar and white-collar jobs. Blue-collar or white-collar jobs. So blue-collar jobs are the jobs that involve manual work. In a manual means with your hands. What is manual work? The things that I should do with my hands. If I work at Tim Hortons, or work at a restaurant, or I work anywhere, I'm working with my hands. It's a manual job. Or I work in a factory, at the assembly line. It's a manual job. It's a blue-collar job. Now, a white-collar job is a more different kinds of positions, like an administrative position. An administrative, sorry, write it in a different place. An administrative position. Administrative. In an administrative position, it's like a desk job. When I sit at a desk all day long and work. For example, if I'm a clerk and work or a bookkeeper, or a secretary, or an assistant, administrative assistant, for example. Administrative assistant. If I'm an administrative assistant, what do? I sit in an office, put files together, make phone calls, and administrative assistant. Administrative assistant. And that's an administrative job position. We're almost done with this because we have to break for lunch. But so blue collar jobs. Here, blue collar jobs. You know collar? I don't like my shirt doesn't have any collar right now, but it's the collar here. And there's a button here. So the color of my shirt. If it's a blue collar job, it's physical work, manual labor. So labor is also another word for work, right? So labor, you know we have the Labor Day and laborers, right? Laborers. Yeah? Yeah. Labor In British English, if you're taking CE and you want to write in British English, you write labor with O-U-R. Labor. British. The Labor Day is May the 1st, usually. May the 1st is Labor Day. The International Day for Work and Workers. So labor means worker, right? Worker, laborer. If you go to a shop and you want to repair your computer in Canada, and they say, hey, labor is expensive here. It costs $120. That basically means we should pay somebody to do it, and labor is expensive in Canada. Now, the big businesses that would go to China for, in the past, and even now, for what's called cheap labor, right? Cheap labor. American English, labor, British English. So for cheap labor, people would go to a place like China for cheap labor. Now, I want to keep this here because we want to move on. Next video, talking more about all this. Okay? So, it's just that you need to know the perquisites, or the perks, are the benefits. So when you go get a job, you ask for the perks, the perquisites, the benefits. So sometimes there's a benefit package. They give you a package. The package includes insurance, health coverage, things like paid holidays and vacation, things like that. Paid leave, and that's it. We'll be back to this issue of jobs.